हाँ हाँ। So now we have come to the topic factors controlling climate of India. As we discussed yesterday that India experiences a diversity of climate and richness of this land, this subcontinent lies in this fact that this subcontinent experiences a diverse type of climate under the umbrella of monsoon type of climate. Now we have to examine the factors which control the climatic conditions over this subcontinent. And these factors are number one, you can say most important factor, location, number two, relief or Himalayas, number three, factors related to pressure and winds. And in this category, there are three factors, pressure and wind system over the subcontinent, then upper air circulation, or jet streams, and number 3, inflow of western disturbances. Now first factor of location. इंडिया का मैप लगा दे बेटा. इंडिया इंडिया खाली वाला. हाँ, ऐसा कर, इंडिया का नहीं, तू खाली वाला वर्ल्ड का लगा दे. वर्ल्ड का खाली है, वर्ल्ड का खाली लगा दे. बस 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 बस. Now to understand these factors, this line equator and this line Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Cancer. And now Himalayas. And this you see Tibetan Plateau. So location of India or location of subcontinent in this area is most dominating factor. We have to examine how. With this location, this land between equator and Tropic of Cancer, which is the tropical zone. So this southern part of India is completely lying in tropical zone, and in tropical zone means throughout the year temperature in this land is high, and this high temperature throughout the year is due to the nearness to the equator or lying in the tropical zone. So this is the impact upon temperature. Location, how controls temperature of South India can be easily understood by its location. And number 2, the impact upon rainfall, the second important element of climate. How rainfall is controlled in South India due to the location of this land in this area. You know this Indian peninsula, this land penetrating into the Indian Ocean, and Indian Ocean with this location is surrounding this land from 3 sides, and due to this location of Indian Ocean there is huge amount of water vapor always coming in this area of the country, and when this huge amount of water vapor enters in India, in southern India, it causes rainfall. And in general, we can say due to location of peninsular plateau in a tropical zone and near to the Indian Ocean, rainfall in South India is comparatively more than in North India. So temperature is high in South India and amount of rainfall is high in South India, and this is due to the location of this South India near equator or in relation to the Indian Ocean. So these two sub points you can note down here. Location means location in relation to equator, and number two, location in relation to Indian Ocean. So these two sub points can be understood in this first point, or and this point, just like we can say location or even latitude, means latitudinal location of India. Latitudinal location of India. Now the story of northern India, because North Indian part is away from equator and it lies in a temperate zone. So temperature conditions are different in North India, or average temperature conditions are less, are low in North India than South India, and this impact is location of North India away from equator. And temperate zone means there are well developed winters and well developed summers. So two important seasons can be well marked in North India, winters and summers, and this is due to location away from the equator. And impact of location from equator and Indian Ocean of North India is affecting amount of rainfall also, because as the rain bearing winds from Indian Ocean reach to northern parts of India, on an average in general amount of rainfall decreases, because this is a well developed fact, well established fact, that as we go away from the ocean, away from the sea, rainfall is decreased, because the moisture with the moisture laden winds is also decreased. These winds first cause rainfall in South India and then they move towards North India. So in North India, amount of rainfall is less. So this we can understand how location of India or location of subcontinent controls the climate in this area. Now second factor, we have to take relief और हिमालयाज. इनको साफ कर दो, कोई दिक्कत तो नहीं. अब ऋषु, अगर इनको साफ कर दो दिक्कत तो नहीं. ये फालतू की आवाज तो निकाल देता होगा ना, तो इससे Tibetan plateau. Now see the role of Himalayas, and this role of Himalayas we shall see in two seasons, one in winters and then two in summers. First let us see in winters. In winter season, The winds are coming from north side, and these cold winds, extremely cold winds, are completely blocked by Himalayas, this high mountain wall, and these cold winds are not able to enter in North India. So in North India, in winter season, temperature remained high. So we can say that Himalayas work like a closed box for this subcontinent. From north, the box is closed and the effect of polar chilly winds is not coming in India. So temperature of North India, even up to some extent to the south of Tropic of Cancer also, is controlled by this location of Himalayas or relief feature, and temperature remains warm even in winters in northern India. So this is the impact of Himalayas or relief feature upon the climate of India in winters. Now let us see in summers. In summers, the winds which come from Indian Ocean with the huge amount of water vapor, with the huge amount of moisture, are completely caught up in this triangle of relief features, in this triangle of Himalayas, Purvachal, and the Hindu Kush and Suleiman mountains in this side. Hindu Kush and Suleiman mountains in this side. Purvachal, Hindu Kush, and Suleiman mountains. So this location of mountains or the relief features of the subcontinent make the winds coming from Indian Ocean to cause rainfall in India, particularly in North India. So we can say with this second factor of relief and Himalayas, North India is mainly the area to be affected, mainly in North India. South India, other relief factors are there, but Himalayas is controlling in North India. North Indian temperature conditions and rainfall conditions are controlled by Himalayas. In South India also we can see this location of Western Ghats, and in central India, the central islands, they also control the amount of rainfall. Amount of rainfall in western coastal plains is heavy amount of rainfall due to the relief feature of Western Ghats. And in this area also, when the winds from here, these winds from here, when reach in central India, these central islands also block these winds, make the winds to rise up and then make them to cause rainfall in this area. So this way we can understand the role of location and role of relief factors, relief features or Himalayas in the on the climate of India. Now let us see third factor. Third factor related to the pressure and winds. Pressure and winds over the subcontinent. This is a part of third factor. As you know that this equator and this Tropic of Cancer, and in this area here are two pressure belts. This is equatorial low pressure belt. Equatorial low pressure belt, and here in North India this belt this is subtropical high pressure belt. Equatorial low pressure belt, subtropical high pressure belt. Subtropical high, equatorial low. So we have already established this fact that air moves from high pressure belt to low pressure belt. So general condition or system of wind should be this. But direction of wind, you know, is not this over the subcontinent in winters. This fact also should be understood. This we are studying in winters. But general direction of winds is this. Northeast winds, and at global level this wind system, these winds are known as north east trade winds. Northeast trade winds. So these trade winds are the part of global wind system. Global pressure belt, subtropical high pressure belt and equatorial low pressure belt, and between the two belts this wind system is the system of global wind system, and these trade winds must blow throughout the year, and they blow in other parts of world throughout the year, which is known as permanent wind system. Permanent wind system. Now, important fact is here how these winds are taking the direction, which should blow from north to south between high pressure belt to low pressure belt. How they are taking this northeast direction. Certain facts are to be understood here. Number one is Coriolis force. Coriolis force, and number two is Farrell's law. Coriolis force and Farrell's law. What is Coriolis force? Actually, this is the force of deflection. Force of deflection which is created on the surface of the earth due to the rotation of the earth. we know that our earth is rotating very high, at high speed, very high speed, it is rotating on its axis. And due to the rotation of earth on its axis at a very high speed on the earth's surface, the force is created, and this force is known as Coriolis force. And under the effect of this force, the air and liquid, the gaseous matter and liquid matter gets deflected. So moving air gets deflected due to this Coriolis force. Due to deflection, this wind direction is changed. So we can understand this Coriolis force as the force of deflection on the earth's surface. And we must understand here that this force of deflection is registered on gaseous material and liquid material, because these are the light material and they can easily move with the force. They can easily come under the influence of the force. So due to Coriolis force, the air is deflected. One factor we have to understand here in relation to Coriolis force. If greater will be the velocity of air, moving air if will be high speed, greater will be the force of deflection. If movement in the air is less, means velocity is low, deflection will be less, and if velocity will be high, deflection will be more. So this deflection force is resulting the uh, winds to be blowing in northeast direction. In place of north to south, the winds are blowing in northeast direction. And again, we should we should learn it that these are the northeast trade winds in northern hemisphere in this part of India. And what is Farrell's law? Actually, this law is registered by Mr. Farrell, the German geographer. That's why this law is known as Farrell's law. And this law speaks that moving air in northern hemisphere will be deflected towards right. Farrell's law. North hemisphere towards right, and number 2, south hemisphere towards left. So moving air or moving water under the deflection force and under the Farrell's law, they will be deflected towards right in northern hemisphere and deflected towards left in southern hemisphere. So this is the complete story of wind system in winters. And we have seen this wind system in winters because this is from land to sea in winters. So these winds do not cause rainfall in India, and entire India in winters experience dry conditions. Once again, I am reminding you that this wind system should be throughout the year in this area, because this is the global wind system of permanent winds. But interestingly enough, the unique conditions are found in Indian subcontinent, and due to these unique conditions, the climate of this land is also unique. And what are these unique conditions? Unique conditions are that in summers, the system of trade winds is completely disappearing from Indian subcontinent. There is no system of trade winds in winters which is found over other parts of world, but in this particular region, subcontinental region, this system is disappeared and the wind system is completely changed in summers. And how this system is changed? Because with the northward movement of sun, this entire belt of North Indian subcontinent, this belt is intensively heated. North Indian belt of land is intensively heated. And here are two regions. Number one, vertical rays of the sun over Tropic of Cancer. This North Indian area dominated by land. As we have already discussed, land gets heated very fastly. So by the month of May and June, this entire part of North Indian subcontinent is intensively heated, very high temperature, intense heating, intense heating. This intense heating in North Indian subcontinental portion creates strong low pressure area. Strong low pressure area, and this strong low pressure area attracts the huge amount of air from ocean, from Indian Ocean, huge amount of air from Indian Ocean. Again you see this equatorial area, and these winds again under the Coriolis force and Ferrel's law, they blow in southwest direction. So the wind system of northeast trade winds is completely overtaken by the wind system of southwesterly monsoon winds. Southwesterly monsoon winds. So this is known as southwestern monsoon in Indian subcontinent, and because these winds are coming from tropical oceans where humidity is very high, evaporation rate is very high. So this air is having huge amount of water vapor, and wherever this air is going, this cause heavy rainfall. So in summer, the situation is in these conditions are in summers. So wind system is completely changed in summers in this area, and this is controlling the climatic conditions in summers in this area, and huge amount of rainfall is caused in Indian subcontinent under the influence of southwesterly winds, southwesterly monsoon winds. So this fact is to be understood that in this particular region, this uniqueness is found, and that's why regional factors are dominating here over the wind system. Global factors are weak here, regional factors are dominating, and that's why this area is under the influence of monsoon winds, under the influence of monsoon type of climate. So this we can understand how this pressure and winds controls the climatic condition in India. Now see other two factors in this category, pressure and winds. Second factor in this category upper air circulation or jet streams. This also we shall study in winters and summers. For let us see in winters. In winters, upper air circulation means high in the atmosphere, about 10 kilometers high. So this air circulation is not at the surface. Point should be understood here. This air circulation is not on the surface, but this is in upper layer of atmosphere, roughly 10 kilometer high. 10 kilometers high in atmosphere, and this is known as westerly jet. Westerly jet stream. And never forget, again I am telling, this situation is in winters. Westerly jet in winters. Now, to understand this jet stream, the three or four features of jet stream we should understand. Number one, this is in high area of atmosphere, and number two, these are fast blowing winds. Fast blowing winds. And other feature, that this flow is like this. They are not flowing straight, but they are flowing in serpentine way, meandering way. This is meandering blowing of the jet stream. Means jet stream is having the, means its global feature is that they are moving in meandering way. And again you need to understand that this is also a global phenomena. These jet streams are blowing all over the world. It is global phenomena. How this jet stream controls the climatic condition of India in winters. This jet stream coming from here, west side in India, and in this area, Mediterranean Sea, you know this is Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean Sea. So Mediterranean Sea, the source of water, in this area there is origin of temperate cyclones. Mediterranean Sea, origin of temperate cyclones. These cyclones in India are known as western disturbances. Western disturbances. So these temperate cyclones originated here. They pick up moisture from Arabian Sea, from Red Sea, from Persian Gulf, and from Caspian Sea. Once again, I repeat, Mediterranean Sea, some amount from Red Sea, some amount from Persian Gulf, and some amount from Caspian Sea. From these water bodies, these temperate cyclones pick up moisture and they move towards east, towards India. And the role of westerly jet is that westerly jet under her influence easily carry these temperate cyclones in India. Again you listen, westerly jet under her influence carry these temperate cyclones or western disturbances in India. And these western disturbances and temperate cyclones control the climate of India. So this is the role of westerly jet, taking these temperate cyclones in India. And when these temperate cyclones are coming in India, how they control the climatic conditions? In winters, never forget this role we are studying in winters. So when these temperate cyclones enter in North India, and already we have learned they bring moisture with them. So in North Indian plains, particularly northwestern parts of India, taking from Jammu Kashmir, Punjab, Haryana, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, even up to Bihar, these cyclones cause light rainfall, and with this light amount of rainfall and lowering down of temperature, जब रेनफॉल होगा तो टेम्परेचर भी कम हो जाता है. So light amount of rainfall and reducing the temperature in North India is the direct effect upon the climate of India. So amount of rainfall is caused and temperature is decreased under the cold waves which are created by these temperate cyclones and rainfall in northwestern part of India. So the role of temperate cyclones mainly in North India, mainly in northwestern part of India. So this light rainfall is actually very useful in this part of India because this is the Rabi season in North India, and Rabi crops, food grains like wheat, gram and other food grains, mustard, etc. These crops are getting this beneficial amount of rainfall. So amount of rainfall in this part of India is causing great influence upon Indian agriculture in Rabi season. Other role of these temperate cyclones, that is in Himalayas. In this part of Himalayas, Himalayas means mountainous region and low temperature. So in Himalaya region, these temperate cyclones cause huge amount of snowfall. So this snowfall make the accumulation of ice and snow in Himalayas in winters, and then this accumulated ice and snow in the field of ice fields, snow fields and glaciers. So these ice fields, glaciers and snow fields in summers give water to all the Himalayan rivers. All these Himalayan rivers like Ganga, like Indus, like Brahmaputra and other rivers, all these rivers become perennial rivers, and this water through snow melting is coming in these rivers, and this water is coming even this water is coming actually the water which was lifted by the temperate cyclones from Mediterranean Sea, Black Sea, Caspian Sea, Red Sea and Persian Gulf. And overall, we have to see this was the phenomenon under the influence of westerly jet in winters. Westerly jet in winters. Now let us see the influence of jet stream in summers. Jet stream in summer, and in summers this influence is of easterly jet. Easterly jet. So easterly jet in summers which is developed over this part of India. over this part of India. Easterly jet over this part of India. Plateau. So in summers, easterly jet is developed over this part of India. And what is the influence of this easterly jet to control the climate of India? We have already learned that in summers, these southwesterly winds are blowing, and these winds are bringing huge amount of moisture with them. And when this moisture is rising up over the land of southern part of India, this moisture is condensed and clouds are hovering over the atmosphere of South India. Under the influence of condensation, the cloud formation process is the natural process over South Indian plateau region or over South Indian atmosphere. So when this process of cloud formation is there in this part of India, then the influence of easterly jet. Easterly jet means again 10 km high over the atmosphere, and 10 km high, this huge amount of air when is bringing the influence over these clouds which are already available in the atmosphere of India. This huge amount of air, and at the upper atmosphere, this air is cold air. Cold air by easterly jet when react with the clouds in this area, there is cooling effect of this cold air created by easterly jet. So cooling effect with these clouds make the condensation process very fast. Condensation process very fast, and suddenly within few days South India takes the rainfall conditions due to the easterly jet. Cooling process, fast condensation under the influence of easterly jet brings sudden rainfall in South India in this season. So this cooling effect, you can understand the role of easterly jet over the climate in South India. So these three factors related to pressure and winds. Again, I repeat, number two is upper air circulation or jet stream, easterly jet and westerly jet, and then temperate cyclones. Temperate cyclones. But one more factor is here, that is the tropical cyclone in summers and in uh, October and November. Effect of tropical cyclones. So this effect of tropical cyclones not in winter but mainly in summers, and in summers also mainly in October and November. These two months, summers, October and November. So these tropical cyclones which are originated here in central part of Bay of Bengal, and these cyclones enter in India in this direction. Again, I repeat that maximum influence of these cyclones is in October and November, and this influence is mainly over eastern coastal plains. And in October and November, this coast, particularly this Coromandel coast and this coast and coastal areas, here deltas of Krishna, Godavari, and Kaveri. These delta regions are mainly affected by these cyclones. They bring heavy and devastating rainfall and with high speed of winds. Again, I repeat, in October and November, high speed of winds and this heavy rainfall with high speed of storms cause heavy rainfall in these delta region, and sometimes they cause great loss to the life and property in these areas. But in summer season, in monsoon season, these cyclones reaches over the land. They reach even up to the North Indian plains. And wherever these tropical cyclones reach, they attract the moist air from Indian Ocean or from this area, and this moist air under the influence of tropical cyclones is affecting the rainfall. Wherever these cyclones are located in that area, there is longer period of rainfall, means wet spell. So in general, these five factors control the climate of India. हो गया भाई? ठीक है ऋषु, बाकी फिर कल देखेंगे, आज का यहीं पे खत्म कर देते हैं.